Welcome to week 3. This week we are looking at how organizations interact with their environment as well as what the current environment is for organizations. So to that end we are studying systems theory and globalization. So there are chapters from your textbook that tie to each. There is a lesson about systems theory and then there is a movie about globalization. So corresponding to each of these there are 2 discussions and 1 activity. So both discussions have to do with globalization. I really want you to start thinking through how many topics and how many parts of life really relate to globalization. And so the first discussion forum asks about what responsibilities you think organizations and individuals have in a globalized environment. So there's some links in the discussion forum to different organizations different nonprofit organizations that talk about responsibilities in a globalized environment. So I ask you to go through, look at those, and then tie them to your reading and the movie. And then also there's a globalization debates discussion forum, and that ties directly to some of the debates outlined in your reading. And again, I ask you to weigh in on those debates. And I ask you to quote the reading, but you can also tie these debates to the movie and the links in the other discussion. And then finally, there is a create your own organization. And this is an activity that really lays the groundwork for your final project, which is to create an organization from the ground up and study it in terms of the topics we're talking about in class, and explain it in terms of the topics we are talking about in class. So for this week, I ask you to come up with the idea of the organization, explain a little bit about it, and describe how it's a system, including its environment, its subsystems, its supersystems, its inputs, its processes, its outputs. So this ties, again, directly to your reading and the lesson. So for the final project, I allow you to work either as an individual or in pairs. As you all know, there's benefits and drawbacks to each, so I let you work according to your preference. So to that end, you'll see some of the activities that correspond to the final paper. I will also give you the opportunity to work alone or in pairs. So I ask you to decide this week if you're working alone or with a partner, and then start doing the work together if you're partnered, or do the work alone if you're going to be alone, but don't switch it up in the middle of the semester or further into the semester. And so if you are working with somebody else, just make sure both of your names go on the paper, but only one of you has to submit it. And I think that is about it. This is a really kind of like an in-depth week. Globalization is a huge topic that is changing constantly, and there's lots of viewpoints on it. So of course your textbook takes the critical perspective, and the No Logo movie does a really good job of just kind of like focusing on the branding and consumer elements of and cultural elements of globalization. So hopefully you'll be able to see how these all tie together in terms of organizational climate, and hopefully this will kind of inform your understanding of systems theory a little bit better too. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you in the classroom.